Hey, what's up, everyone? This is your boy James. Welcome back to the How to Learn Data Science episode number 6. I know it's been a while, like I shooting a new episode. It so happened a lot of things the past 3 months, and yeah, and I'm not quite sure I still remember what I have been learned. So I'm not quite sure I can finish this episode just without trouble because I probably already forgot some. But that's okay. It's just the process, right? You learn, you forgot, you learn again. So I just fulfill my promise with myself, with you guys. Keep learning data science. It's a long process. So let's join the journey. So today, first let's look at like what Hugo gonna say. Welcome to the case study, the Python toolbox.
Okay, so in this course, along with its prequel, you have learned a formidable number of serious Pythonista data science chops. It's now time to flex those muscles and see what metal you're made of. In this chapter, you'll
Okay.
use your recently gained skills of writing user-defined functions, iterators, list comprehensions, and generators to wrangle and extract meaningful information from a real-world dataset, the World Bank World Development Indicators dataset. This dataset contains data on 217 world economies for over half a century, from 1960 up until 2015. The data contains hundreds of indicators from population, electricity consumption and CO2 emissions to literacy rates, unemployment, and mortality rates.
Okay.
In the following exercises, you'll use dictionaries, zipping, user-defined functions, and list comprehensions to wrangle some of this wonderfully rich dataset. Let's quickly recap these tools. The zip function accepts an arbitrary number of iterables and returns an iterator of tuples. We bring back our two lists from before, one of the Avengers, the other of their names. Passing these to the zip function creates a zip object, which is an iterator of tuples. We can turn them into a list and then print this list. For
Okay.
writing functions, function headers begin with the keyword def, followed by the function name, arguments inside parentheses, and a colon. We then have the function body, with the docstrings enclosed in triple quotation marks. The rest of the function body performs the computation that the function does and closes with the keyword return, followed by the value or values to return. Comprehensions now, in their most basic forms, are enclosed in square brackets and are structured as output expression for iterator variable in iterable. More advanced comprehensions can include conditionals on the output expression and/or conditionals on the iterable. Now that we've recapped all the tools you'll need to hack away at this dataset in the next few exercises, let's get hacking.
Okay, let's get hacking, right? So first, the dictionary for data science. So let's just like patient, like read everything and make sure we understand what's going on, what they're asking for. So for this exercise, I will use what I have been learned, the zip function, to combine two lists to a dictionary. Okay, and those lists that are actually extract from the bigger data sets files from the word development indicator of the World Bank. For pedagogical purpose, we have purposes the dataset. Okay, that's good. The first list data frame contains headers and the datasets, and the second list is the row values contain the actual value. Okay, that's what we need. So instruction, let's say create a zip object by call zip. Okay, and passing the feature name and the row value aside the value to the zip list, which is over here. Create a dictionary from the zipped list and the zipped object by calling director. Dictionary with the zip list assign the reason dictionary to the rsdict. Okay, so like first we can zip things. So let's look at those like two things. So, are they two lists? Like let's see. Okay, here you got one list over here, obviously, and second like row value. That's a copy and paste over here. Just you can see like what it is. Okay, you got all things. So okay, my question become like when I zip them, are they become like a long list? or they become a data frame which have two columns. That's what I imagine this is supposed to be, right? So whatsoever, let's just like it's entry class data science stuff like so let's just try and see how to go. So copy and paste row values over here, copy and paste, right? And okay, let's just run the first lines over here. Zip list. We'll hide here. Oh, good. So we can stop. Okay, so we can stop over here. Okay, that's good. Oh no, we don't want this one. Okay, zip list. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so it's become the zip object. If I understand that correct, let's assume it is right. Okay, and then create the dictionary by the RS disk. So let's think about that zip object by calling zip passing the feature name and the row value. Okay. I'm not quite sure if I did that right. Let's assume I just have no idea, right? Like, let's assume that's the way to pass. So I have this guy, and then it just passes the dictionary. So assume this is the way, and it worked. Oh, I can't believe. Why it's working? Okay, let's since I'm like recording the whole desk, let's see what's going on. Zip function Python. Let's see how it works, right? Python says zip function take an iterator can be observed to make error aggregate elements based on. Do we have an example over here? Zip iterator. Yeah, want to the zip result. Okay, let's see. Oh, this also from is that from data camp? So over here you can see 1, 2, 3, this guy get results and result list equals to list and convert it to list. Okay. So basically you have two lists over here, one numeric and one string. And then you have a zip function give a this zip to like basically empty, no iterator or pass. Convert iterator to a list. Okay, you convert the zip to a list, print it out. And then you zip those two guy. Why do you need to convert it to a list first? That's confusing. Maybe you don't need to do that. Okay, I assume you don't need to do that because basically we skip those two parts. We basically just putting those two lists together and convert iterator to set. What is set? Ah, not quite sure, man. So first print you basically got nothing. Second print you got the 1, 2, 3. Oh, let's see. If we don't have a set over here, what's gonna happen? Let's see. If we comment those two out, so I just print out the results. Let's see what's okay. So we see nothing. Let's double check. So it's a zip object. You will see nothing. You need to set the object in order to see stuff. So, which means this creates a dictionary. The dict basically converts this object to a dictionary, which make perfectly sense over here. It's kind of unloaded for you. But what if we let's try something? Okay, this is the part like I think we can all learn something from the new stuff, right? So if I copy and paste things in here. Let's just try some new stuff, right? So you have that this let's just copy over here, right? So get rid of this printer, I don't need to print. Let's see. Let's copy this part. Result set equals to okay, never mind. Result equals to let's just set the zipped list and result, right? And we print result, empty one. Huh? Why? 'Cause here you obviously see that when you set the result, you got those things over here, right? So I expect to see if I set the results over here. Let's make sure this is still. Oh man, like copy and paste is not working today. What's going on here? Let's just run line by line first. Okay, first I run this line, right? Zip list, okay, this is zip list. Let's print it out and see what we have here. So object, okay. And then basically what I'm trying to do is set results to set the zip list to results, right? And okay, here. Oh, here we go. So here you can see this set is basically put a princess on each of the dictionary, or let's so to speak list. So I'm not quite sure what's this set do. Let's take a look. Set Python. Come on, load. Let's close this one. I don't need this anymore. But here we can pass. Okay, 100 point. Woohoo! Set Python. What happened to my computer? Why it's so slow? Set. Okay, I guess my Google's not working. So what is that? Well, we'll figure it out later. Let's keep going. So write a function to help you. Suppose you need to repeat the same process during the previous access many rows data. We write the code again and become tedious. So you want to write a function. I assume this is what you try to say. And why? This way you only need to call the function to support the proper list and create your dictionaries. Right. So define the function lists to dict. To parameter first list the second list, return the result dictionary, and call the dictionary function with the arguments feature names and lists, and then send results to RS functions. Okay, pretty straightforward. So first we need the name lists to dict and one to the list one, as he said over here, list two over here. Return dictionary where list one provide the key and list two provide value. Remember key and value sets, right? So this is the explanation. So we saved it over here. Okay, let's see. So we need to. Oh, it's already provided for us here. So list one, list two, zip the list, dictionary, and we just need to return. Remember that the indent is gonna be right. So we want to return the RS disk. And here we just call lists to dict and the pass what are we gonna pass here? List function. Key feature name row number. Let's see what we have. Row number. A whole bunch of string numbers. Okay, so let's run the code. Oh, RS disk is not defined. What do you mean? Let's see, line 17. Oh, this is not defined. Hmm. I think I defined over here. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Bit. Here we go. Ta-da! So you printed out this new dictionary. 100 points. Next, use a list. So here we go. Use a list of comprehension. You're going to use the list of this function to define the last exercise to turn a bunch of lists into lists of dictionaries that use the help of list of comprehension. The list to disk function has already been preloaded together with a bunch of lists. Name, row, feature, name, contains the headers and the workbench and data set and row list with a list of the list. Wow, what is this list of lists? That's what we have here. Okay, so what lists of lists mean is you have a first list over here. Oops. Let's see. You got a first list over here. You can see that, and then second list. So it's a two kind of like 2 by 2 matrix, and for each row, so first row, first column, you got this whole list, and the second row. Uh, is that the proper way to put it? The second column, you got this whole thing. Maybe that's the proper way, but let's see. You go to use the list comprehension to generate the list of dictionary where the keys are the header names and values of row entries. Inspect the contents of a okay, that's what I'm doing. Inspect the contents of the row list by print the first two lists of the row list. First two, I think is that the header and row list? Header? I don't remember the header. Oh, I don't remember but we already say basically, so let's figure out that later. Let's keep going. Create a list of comprehensions that generate a dictionary. Use the dicts to list to dicts, and for each sublist in each sublist. See for the row list, which means we're gonna use a loop. The key are the feature names and the value of the row entry of uh, the row list. This sublist adds your iteration variable and then assign the results to the dictionary to lists to dictionary. So basically, if you look at over here, each row is each sublist is an entry. We want to iterate those sublists. At the end, we save first two dictionary in the list of dictionary by print them out. Okay, first two. I'm not quite sure how to do the first two, but we see. First two lists in the list row. Print. Well, I guess we need to figure it out. Is that the like this? Let's see. Not quite sure. So print. Okay. Yes, that's okay. I don't think we need the print, so we can get rid of it. Okay, oh, so you print it out is horizontal, and if you just show it up, is you enter, and it's vertical. That's interesting. Slides, okay. We forgot we can look at slides, but here we have nothing. So first we need to row lists. We get first one, first 0 star. Oops. Second one. Turn list of lists into a list of dictionary list of dicts. So we want to use this sublist as the iterate variable for what do we want to iterate? That's a good question. So this is a challenging part. Print those two guys, right? Here, second, right? And then turn list of list into list. I forgot how to iterate it. Here for something in something for I in stuff. I think here should put the function for sublist. It said the iterator variable and assign the value to. So this one is a variable and the row list is the one I want to iterate. Oh, I'm not quite sure. Maybe it's not right. First, let's see. I think it's not right, but we will figure it out. On that, okay, it's not right. Let's see what's going on. This one and list two missing. So we need two arguments over here. Row one and the row two. Oh, okay. I see. So we want to iterate 1, 2, 31. That's all. Oh, okay. The first time is what do we have here? Wait a second. So I got this list one, list two. What I want to do here, let's think about it. What I want to do, use the list comprehension to generate a list of dictionary. So this one is not dictionary. We need the feature name, obviously, and we need the value. That's the part. This is the value. I in oh, I see. Sublist for sublist and two. Int objects not irritable. What do you mean? Oh, mm, 0 to 1. Oh, I forgot lens. First to range. Let's say range. Sorry about that. I stopped talking while I thinking. Why my Google is not working today? My internet? Really? My internet is down? Good news, my internet is back. Okay. Range. Range 3 equals to 0, 2. Oh, so range 2 will be solving the problem. 2. Okay. Great. Is that right? So you want print list 1. What if I just print the first one? See, that sense is not right. So let's say sublist in range 2. The first one, Teddy. Word. Let's see if it's right. Did you correctly specify the second argument? You check your call. Did you correctly specify the second argument? You expect the sublist, but you get sublist. Oh, okay, sublist as iterative variables. So this is not the value, but the index, but it's actually guide. So I need to iterate it to the, uh, let's see. Oh, okay. Row list. Is that the way? Didn't expect that complicated like that. See, so this is the guy in 0 to 1. Didn't looks quite right here. Oh, I have those 2 points. Okay, that's that. I think it's right because those 2 points at the print at the top. So here, right? Like, there's not the index. So because 0 to 1 is just one row, so I actually need to get 2 here. Here we go. So 0 to 2, they will ignore the last one, so it's gonna be the 0 1, the first one. So first two of the list. I think that's right. What? Did you use the is therefore as your irritable? Did you use what do you mean? I think this is some minor things. Let's look at that. The hunt. Except the x equal y, output expression should be a call to which the feature name and sublist that the measure the of the list of the list. Yes, that's what I did. How many we have here? Yeah, because we have a whole bunch. Let's look at the answer. Uh, list. Really? Okay, you iterate all of them and just show the first two. That's bold. Uh, Close it. So you basically just, I guess I understand that wrong. You basically iterated everything and but just showed the first two. Well, I think it makes sense though. Well, got 0 point, but it's understanding question. That's fine. Next, turn this all into a data frame. Okay, I like that one. You have zipped the list together, create a function to house your code, and even use a function of list of comprehension to generate a list of a dictionary. That was a lot of work, and you did a great job. You will now use all of those to condense a list of dictionary in a Panda data frame. We see to how convenient it is to generate a data frame. One dictionary is a data frame function from Panda data frame. Panda package. List to dict function feature and the row. Okay, let's go. Import. Oh man, import pandas kdf equals to std. Create a data frame list of a dictionary list of dicts by calling pd data frame. Okay, this will help. Pd data frame. Let's run this first. Let's see how this guy looks like. Control dictionary. Convert to data frame. Okay, this will help. Print it out. Print df. Page forward. Oh, okay, that's cool. So this one's easy. Oh, the head of the df dot head. Oh, okay, so it's a function. You get dot head to see stuff. Head of the data frame. My bad. Okay, here we go. 100 point. Okay, next one. Using Python generated for string data.
Congratulations on your first foray into the World Bank's World Indicators dataset. Having played around with some of the data, we're now going to step back a bit and look at importing the dataset, which is pretty large. We already saw that for a large dataset, we can use an iterator to load it in chunks. We can also write a generator to load it in line by line. And one of the really cool things about this method is that if the data is streaming, that is, if new lines are being written to the file you're reading, this method will keep on reading and processing the file until there are no lines left for it to read.
Oh,
In the
okay.
following exercises, you'll be writing a generator function that can process large amounts of data. So let me remind you of our typical example of a generator function. Here is a generator function that, when called with a number n, produces a generator object that generates integers 0 through n. In the function definition, I is initialized to 0. The first time the generator object is called, it yields I equal to 0. It then adds 1 to I, and will then yield 1 on the next iteration, and so on. The while loop is true until I is equal to n, and then the generator ceases to yield values. In the exercises, you'll be writing a generator function that, on each iteration, reads a new line of the file. Now, head over to the exercises and try your hand at writing a generator that can read streaming data. You'll once again be playing around with the World Bank's World Indicators dataset. Enjoy.
I didn't quite get it, but let's see how it goes. Process data in chunks. Sometimes okay, it's big and there's 1,000 rows to create a dictionary to count for how many times each country appeared. Okay, counting stuff basically. The CSV file word dev in CSV is in your current dictionary for your use. To begin, you need to open a connection to this file using whatever no context manager. For example, the command with open datacamp CSV as the datacamp binds with CSV datacamp.csv as datacamp in the context manager. Here with statement is a context manager, and its purpose is to ensure the resource are efficiently allocated when opening a connection to the files. Okay, if you'd like to learn more about Context Manager, we're gonna talk about in the future this Context Manager for sure. Uh, so instructions: use open to bind the CSV file with deb in CSV as a file in the Context Manager. For loop that first thousand times, so perform loop body and process only first thousand rows of data files. So with let's see, with open tab with hmm, oh, it's a little bit different. Oh, okay. Open this guy with that in CSV as what file? Because you have a file, see, and then you read the line, count the dictionary, empty dictionary. Okay, then think about that one. So you have to have an empty one in order to iterate that. For this guy in files, J in files, file line, file read line split by comma because it says fake comma split files. Get the value from the first column like 0. If the column value is in the dictionary, increment its value. If the first column, in the first line, you're reading, not quite sure why it's there over here, but we figured out. In the count dictionary key, then you basically add, so this is the first row of line. You add one else you just make it equal to 1. Okay, makes sense. But why here get the value? So let's see. Open the CSV files, read it, skip the column name, initial the dictionary, process on the first 1,000 rows. File in files. Let's see. That the files gonna be big. How many? Not quite sure. Forgot the comments. But here you basically read the lines, split, and then you get the first 1,000. Let's see, first 1,000. So it should be like 0 to 1 first 1,000. And you read the line, you split it. So everything's happening this. So it's reading the files right now. Dictionary for 7 lines. For each one, each lines you split it. What are we doing here? Let's see. Process the first line by line to create the dictionary to count how many times each country appear. Okay, so find the country name. So let's say like you split it and they just come in line by line, right? Like the CSV file, like you just line by line coming in. You split it by the commas, and so basically you got the each column's each cell's value, I think. And then you pass in the first guy to here to him, and if this count dict, what is count dict? Count dicts here. So this dictionary's key, if this guy sells value in the key, then add one high. If it's new, just initiate and print. Let's see what will happen. No, let's run the whole thing. Wait, no, I want to run the whole thing. Object is not subscribable. Okay, let's assume it's only 1,000 rows. Really? Is that right? Okay, of course. Then a range. Not range, right? Have no attribute of range. Hmm. Not quite sure it's right. So I do have the country here. Let's see, CSV. Let's do an example. I want to see what it has here. Print, import, and PD. I basically want to see PD dot and let's see. How can I look at that? I forgot. Can I do that? So basically, I want to look at the CSV and see what it has. Pandas. Header. CSV. Python. Oh, read CSV. Okay. So let's see. PD. Read CSV. Let's see. Where's that? Oh, I spelled that wrong, but that's okay. USLT, right? Okay, so we get the country name. Oh, that's why the first guy, first one in the whole like the sensory file, the first column is country name. That's why here it is line zero because line zero returns this guy, the first one in the column. Now it makes sense. Submit. First, wait, rangers work down this way? Okay. So write a generator to load data in chunks of second. Previously, line by line, okay. Lazy evaluation data. The concept of lazy evaluation is useful when you have to deal with very large data set because it lets you to generate value in the effective manner by yawning only chunks of data at the time instead of the whole thing at once. Okay. In this example, you would define a generator function, read large files that produce a generated object which yields a single line from each file every time next is coded on. The CSV will dev in CSV is in your current directory you use. Note that when you open a connection file, the results file object is already a generator. Hmm. When you open a connection to a file, the resulting file object is already generated. Why? So out of the wild, you won't have to exclusively create the general object in case such as is. However, for pedagogy reasons, we are having you practice how to doing this with the reading large files function. Go for it. Okay, instructions. First, in the function read large files, read a line from the file object by using the method readLine. Assign the result to data. So, okay, while true, data equals to file object. Let's get into this. File object dot read line, right? Read the line. If not data broke. There's end of file. Oh, okay, that's new. Yield the line to the data. If not data, what is yield line? Yield line from the data. Let's see. We can use some of the code over here. I think we can use this. I don't remember the syntax, but I think this is probably the way to go. So you basically, if it's not data, right? Like so, it's just data here. You read line. You read already read line. Okay. Read object the read lines. I'm not quite sure what I should put here. So if there's the end of the file, if this is the beginning, otherwise. I'm not quite sure. Pending. Open a connection. Oh, okay. In this exercise, we will see like that's why we shouldn't skip the context. Sometimes you miss information, you end up to go back and you spend more time. So patient is the whole thing. Like I just tell myself need to be patient. So for you too, um, I think that's a good thing. You will define a generator function read large files that produce a generate object which yields a single line from the file each time. Next is called on it. So I think you should be next. If in that case, I'm not quite sure is that data next. Or maybe just next. Let's see. Open it. Generate an object of file gen. Context manager. Open it. Create a generator for file chain. Well, generate what? Oh, okay. Here's not next. I'm not quite sure what I put here. Front chain file. File. What we should put here? So if it's true, you read the lines. If it's not last line, break. If it's kind of confused. So you open this guy. And they generated a generator object for the line chain. What I should do here, let's see. Open, skip the column name, initial dictionary, that's new dictionary. So should I just like read? Ah, here's next. No idea this one. So guys, bear with me. That's all. Next gonna be like their index. So it's not the right way. Next one, two, three. Let's see. Okay, string have no attribute next. So how about next one? Okay, let's look at some line. I'm not quite sure. Apply method x object y dot x. Make sure to produce the line read from the UL data inside of while loop. No idea. File as the argument of read. Oh, that's the handle function? Really? So I just need to return data? And here, so basically I just read stuff. I basically just read stuff. What this file is just object over here, right? And I'm just like, and then did not match. Like that. String object have no next. Let's see, Python next. How to use next. No idea what it's talking about. Sometimes it just make me more confused. So this is the hard part. Like sometimes, I mean, my excuse is not the background, but you know, you can Google the right question. The next is when if I use the iterator. Okay, what's that mean? Like I typically in a loop, and the next method is called repeatedly. Um, do you have an example, please? Here, next in the default. Random one night cat. Random point. Okay, next. Random iterator. Oh, okay. See, if you just do like this and they give you like output, I know what's going on. Man, like it's too abstract sometimes, but that's part of the game. X is the function, and you just do like this. Oh, Even if I string object have it's not the iterator. What do you mean? I need to convert it to iterator? Uh, I need to do that. Quite sure. C. That's not right. Well, let's look at the answer. No clue. Yield data. Yield's a function. Yield's a function. Huh. What's that mean? Python yield. What does yield keywords do? This one's a generator. Use the list comprehension. Create the list is so irritable. We can say, okay, not every four is in a list and string file. Irritable are handy because you can read them as much as you wish, but you store all the value in the memory and you will always do what you want when you have a lot of value. Generator. My generator is excellent. Excellent range 3 is okay. Yield is the keyword that used like return, except it's a function return generator. My list range. Create a generator. I in my generator print I. Print I. So here's the when you call the function, the code you have written the function but does not run, return the general object. This is the trick. Then your code will be run each time for by first time for call the generate object radio function. It will run the code in the function from the beginning to TEO. Then it will return the first value of the loop. Then each other code will return the run the loop you have written the function one more time and return the next value. No matter the machinery consider empty once the function is run, but it does not hit the yield anymore. It can be because the loop will have to come to the end, or because you have to define it else. So does that mean it once reach yield, it just do nothing over there until you run for sure? Well, let's understand it more and more when we use more, right? Okay, so if you use yield, run, get rid of that. Okay, so let's Google yield versus return Python. Yield is a keyword that like return, except the function will return a generator. What is generator in Python? I guess the question. What is the generator in Python? Generator comes with a similar way to create an iterator. We have mentioned about automation to generate processes. A generator function that return an object iterator. which we iterate over. What is iterator? Iterator is the object that input program to. What is iterator? It's very abstract. What's iterator in Python? An object which implemented iterator coding in a report for this to return their X. Okay. Okay. So basically, it's a thing. When you do next, it's give like the first, second, third elements of that thing, whether it's a list or whatever. But we call it iterator. Well, I don't know if I explained that right, but seems like it's that way. Okay. Third one, write a generator to load the data in chunks. Great, you have created a generator function you can use will help you to process a large files. But what is yield? One second. Use the keyword to return function begin until it's yield. Okay, run the first value. Then it will run the first value of the loop. Always run the first value of the loop. That's what I saw. Anyway, let's focus on the third one. Now let's use the generator function to process a workbank data set like you did previously. You will process a find line and create a dictionary to count how many times each country appear on the column access. Now you won't hit those other rows of data. You will process the entire data set. Okay, entire data set. Instruction. Well, this one's actually very useful because you read data a lot. So check if it's true. If it's true, like read. If it's last one broke, otherwise just give it. That's a great one, I think. Here, like let's see, what are we gonna do again? Jennifer, they can use to help you process large data. So be mindful, right? Bind the files Word, Dev, individual CSV file into a texture manager while open. So complete the for loop so that iterate over the generate of the core root large file and then process all the rows of files. So first you have this dictionary. Why we need the dictionary here? Let's use the generate function to process word but like we did the previous. You will process the Bible line to create dictionary. Oh, okay. Create dictionary to count how many times each country appear in column data set. We've done this before, so we just need to open Word Dev in CSV, right? Okay, as a line in uh, line in this is the whole thing. Count Victor in a line. First we'll split the lines. Give the first one. If the first guy in that we add it, otherwise we initialize that, and then count. First count is not defined. Files. Oh, I didn't. I think I didn't grasp that. Like this read large file function. So this read lines. It's option. Okay, so read log lines is actually printed and then read lines. So here, what these guys do is read a line, open file, read the file, talking about this song. Here's crazy. Okay, so read, we need to. So here we have the object, right? We read the object, read line by line. If that's what you want, so just count that line. And we read lines in that line, split it, country, and if it's there already and one is not there, initialize count. Attribute of no text attribute have no attribute of split. Minus object. So basically that's that saying like why don't have generative. So for line so over here you have this whole thing pass file. You pass the file object into this guy read and for each line you print it out, right? So and here you basically like okay, the object is a line, it's object of the specific file, and then use a function to read each line out. And each line is over here. This line is different one. It's a different one. It's the actual line. And then this is the one row. Split it, country, and if country is there, +1. If it's country not there, initial. And here we go. Check with the first waste limit. Do you correctly specify first contacts? Make sure you use the correct contents mention name, but not lines. Yes. That's what I confused about. Here we go.
You're on the home.
Okay, so I'm stop over here because it's already over 1 hours. So I hope you enjoying this episode. And before I end, let's look at the answer. They can't look at the answer. So first, the initial dictionary, empty one for store the stuff later here. And why don't you use the list? Oh, that's a good question because it's a dictionary, I assume. Let's try to explain that. Open the connection of the files, open CSV as files, and then use this read large file function, read the file for each line, read it here, and split the lines. The first line is a country name, so it's the first column. And if the first column in the dictionary key, okay, here we go. So dictionary have key value. So if it's a key, and then you add it up. If it's new, just initial that. And at the end, we printed out basically the whole thing. I mean, the counts. So we count like key and save the values if the so this is a string in the key. Then we dictionary value. Okay, so if it's key, let's see this guy. So we got a whole bunch of here, right? Key country count dot keys. These are all the keys. And country dot uh, values. Is that the right? Values. Okay, so here's more clear. Like the key is just the string name, value just like stored in this value thing, the list, I assume. Well, hopefully, I'm not quite sure I'm right or not, but the same based on here. It's just the key is the string of the country name, the value over here +1 +1 +1, or just initial that is just the value of that country. So it's the dictionary key value pair. So if we print it out, let's see. We don't have head function. Print it out whole thing. So you would see here it have like country, I mean key value, key value, key value, and key and value, and key and value. So that's it. So hopefully you enjoying today's episode, and I see you in the next episode. Peace. Which one is safe?